Hello, welcome back to the Off-Grid family. Today I woke up and I was just like, I just want to make a rotary bed for my K40, and that's what I'm going to do. I've done no research, I've done nothing at all. I just woke up wanting to do it, and that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to try and get it done over the next 2-3 days. I'm going to design it, laser cut it or 3D print it. I haven't decided yet. It's probably going to be laser cut, and hopefully just set it up. And I'm going to try and use just what I've got lying around. I should have enough bits and bobs from old 3D printers and so on. I'm the sort of person who gets given all these broken bits and bobs, but I've definitely got stepper motors and various other things. So I'm hopefully just going to make it out of stuff I've got lying around, and I'm hoping to not have to buy a single thing. If I have to buy something, then I'll feel like I've failed a bit. But before I get on, I'd just like to thank Darren, Joseph and David, my patrons. You guys are absolutely awesome. I appreciate everything you've done for the channel up to now and before. You know, you guys, have always been commenting and liking my videos for years, and I just appreciate all the support, guys. I really, really do. If you'd like to join them and join us on our WhatsApp group chat and so on, then just pop yourself into the description where there's a link to the Patreon page. If you can't afford to do that, then please don't. Just like, comment, subscribe. I'll always help out and chat and so on for free. It's not, it's not needed. Just enjoy the videos. That's all I ask, really. Anyway, let's get on. Right, so this is what I've managed to find. I've only got this bit of aluminium extrusion left. I don't know what the heck I've done with the rest of it. I've obviously built something, I just can't remember what. Happens quite often, don't you worry. And then I've got these two 8mm bars, unfortunately, well, not bars, whatever, cylinders, no, rods, that's the word. It'd be lovely if they were the exact right size, so if when I cut this in half, it'd be the exact right size, but I won't be cutting them because I can't be bothered. Oh, by the way, I haven't really explained how I think this is going to be, I'm just going to have two supports, and it's going to be this in half, and that'll be my maximum length, I think. I haven't 100% decided. I decided on this. I was going to use heat shrink tubing around these things. These rods are going to be the things that spin, right? And I was going to put heat shrink tubing on it to give it some like friction. But I've got this stuff, and this is actually the exact right size to fit over it. And this is silicone hose. This is for the K40, and if I end up using it all, I'll just buy some more. Basically, I'm upgrading the air system at some point. It's one of the things I bought a while back, let's say, and I just haven't got around to it, so I thought I'll repurpose it for this. There still should be enough, so I don't actually need to cover the entirety of these. I could literally just do, inch-size chunks and just move them on where they need to be. I may do that, I may not, I'm not sure. I've got a stepper motor and the wire for the stepper motor, and this is the exact connector I'll need for the K40 as well. This came out of an old 3D printer, so handy as hell. I didn't have to do any soldering for that at all. It may not be long enough, and I may still have to, but we'll see. I've got two lots of the belt. I'm not sure how much I'm going to need yet. So I got both lots. I've got some more somewhere as well. But I'm going to have to connect that together to make a closed loop. When I do, I will have a rethink about my original way of doing it, and I'll see if I can come up with a stronger way of doing it. And then I've got these, which are the bearings. These ones just need a little bit of love and attention. That's better. They've been sat in a drawer for quite some time, but they're pretty cool. Also, though, they are ever so slightly too big for the rods, so I'm gonna come up with a way of keeping them on or something. I haven't decided. Again, I could just shove a bit of this tube on, and that would hold these in place. So a bit of tube there, and that would stop the actual thing being able to fall out. I don't know. Haven't decided. I'm making this up as I go along. I have 3 of these doers, or I've got 4 of these. Again, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the designs yet. I'm going to go off to the computer now. Now I know what sort of things I've got, and I will start designing it. And I'll come up with something that either uses these bigger ones or these smaller ones. I'm not sure. And probably you'll be able to, if you've got these lying around, you'll be able to copy. And if you've got these lying around, you'll be able to copy it. I don't think it's going to have much impact on the actual overall design. But again, I can't promise that until I've got it designed. So I'm going to go away and do a bit of designing. Okay, so this is the stuff I've decided I'm going to be needing after doing all the design work. I've found these as well, which I'm going to put on the ends of the pipes, the rods that don't have these on. I was going to use some rubber hose just to stop it coming out, but I thought that might start binding up, so they're a better option. I just found them in another box of bits and bobs. I've cut these and tapped some holes, tapped some screw holes in them. So they are ready to go. All I need to do now is laser cut the design out, and basically we can start putting this thing together. Obviously I'm not going to show you all of the design work I did, because that would be boring and we lose every subscriber we've ever had if we were to do so. Okay, and there's the whole design, and I did this all yesterday. This is now future me, or past me, because when I'm editing this, anyway, never mind. And I went to bed and I was designing this in my head still. I'd finished and laser cut it, and I realised I could have made it so that we didn't need these at all, and I could have laser cut the whole of this bit as well, so that the whole of the actual chassis could have been laser cut and I would not have needed these. But I may revisit and do that just so it's a lot more accessible to people. I'm not sure yet. It's another few hours of designing if I was to do that. If you guys would like me to do that, if you guys are finding it hard to get hold of this or just can't afford to buy it, then tell me and I will add new bits to the design. Now I will say this design will be free. I will just have it out for my Patreons for a month first, and then it'll be free. There'll be a link to download it, or it will go on to my Patreon for free, as in I'll just change it to free to everyone kind of thing. I always want everything to be free, but also I would like to thank my patrons as well, so I think that's the best of both worlds. Anyway, right, so basically now we can start just putting this all together, and hopefully it all fits together, because I've only fit this together in my head. This is literally, when this goes together now, this will be the first time I've ever put it together, and it will be live on camera kind of thing. So if it doesn't work, I will actually cry. Okay, I'm going to start off by putting the aluminium extrusions on. So I'm going to do all hand tightened at first, I think, just to make sure it all sort of fits together. Because as I say, I have not done an actual fit of any of this yet. There will be things I change for the final design, but this will work fine for now anyway. But I do think I'm going to make it all out of wood, so we'll have no aluminium extrusions at all. I just think it'll make it much more efficient. It should all then fit on an A4 piece of paper. An A4 piece of wood, I mean. The design's on an A4 paper, yeah. I know what I mean, you should know what I mean by now. I think I'm going to do the next one of these. I'm going to make almost entirely out of wood. I'm going to make the end stops out of wood. Do we reckon we can make... I don't think I could make these out of wood. Not successfully enough to... It's worth a try, isn't it? I might try and make this whole thing out of wood. Obviously I can't make a stepper motor out of wood and things like that. There would still have to be a few things that weren't made out of wood, but sounds like a fun challenge, doesn't it? Again, if you want me to do that, make sure you put a comment saying so. I haven't actually explained what most of these bits do yet, have I? I will in but a second, you'll understand. Okay, that'll do for now. I don't need to tighten that up yet. But this goes on here like this. And this is basically a channel for where the actual bearings go. And so you can always line up the bearings exactly from one side to the other. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. Okay. Now, as you'll see, this side has been specially modified to be able to go over both the hole and the piece for this. Now, this is where I sort of made a mistake. This is supposed to be comfortably able to slide up and down and tighten itself, but it's going to tighten to an angle. So I need to either recut this so it comes all the way down, which I think I'm going to have to do, to be honest. So this side I'm not going to actually do just yet until I've got to my laser again and recut out this bit. Next we need to get the bearings in these. Now, another thing I thought of with these is I might, in the final design, double them up and glue them to make them thicker. But the idea is that the bearings now have somewhere to sit, and you can unscrew them and then just slide them along wherever you want, and they will stay solid in there. And also then you've got a key to know which one it's in, so you can count like three across on the other side, and you always know you're not going to be, you know, out of alignment. Yeah, I don't like having the extrusion here, the aluminium extrusion. I will be changing that. There's just a few things I just dislike with it. Right, I'm just going to go away and redesign this part very quickly. Okay, so I have remade this one. So it's not this anymore, it is this. I just haven't checked that it lines up because I accidentally made a mistake and deleted the holes and then had to redo it all. Yeah, there you go, it all still lines up. Happy days. Right, let's screw some screws in. And then the next thing we need to do is look at what we're going to do with the bearings. So I'm not 100% sure what to do there. This could be an issue here, but we'll see. I'm not sure yet. Thing is, I can remove this screw. It's not needed to be there, it was just specifically for a little bit more security, but we don't really need it. Okay, so we got both sides on now. Next I've got to decide whether I'm going to glue two of these together and have them glued together. I think that's just extra faff if we don't need to. Let's see how well a bearing goes in this. So what I'm going to do is plonk it in here and hope this works. I've done extras just in case it breaks the wood or something. Nope, that went in pretty nicely actually. Chuck the whole thing in now. And that's completely flat. Okay, that worked better than I thought actually. Right, I'll do all the others now. Okay, so this now will go like this if you have a look, and then you're able to choose where it goes within a small tolerance, and then you know for a fact, you know where the, you know, let's say we put it here, then we know on the other side it's only got one divot, so you know, and that's why I did it like that, so it also holds it tighter in case of any movement, etc. during. So we get to screw these in now loosely, and I'm hoping I can use a long enough screw so we can sort of pull it out a bit, but we'll see. Let's have a look. I'm actually going to put them as far along as they can go for a sec. Okay, so now we can just move it along, clip it in, and then tighten it up. we're going to put the stepper motor on first and hope that it fits with all the other stuff I've put on. As I say, this will be the first time I'm fitting everything together. It fits in my head, but it doesn't mean it works. Yeah, see, now those two will interfere with each other. So in the final design, I won't have this one here. Next, we need to put on this. Now I've got to decide which way up that's going, so I think the next thing actually will be the rods. Well, that does look quite good. But then that's going to be... I wonder if I put them the other way around. Put them on basically the wrong way round as I'd think it, and that's how I'll do it. But I will screw this in first. I'm not sure I've talked you through this. Basically I've set it up like this so that when the things are at their widest, this can be at its closest, meaning we can use the same belt as when these are at the closest. This can be at its widest, and it just means that there's always tension on the belt. Hopefully. Again, still haven't tested it. I don't want to do these too tight because I don't want to break the wood, like crush it. If they had a bit more surface area I might try, but no. If I cut the tube down the middle, it clips on perfectly. Yeah, that's what we'll do, and basically I still can't move it when it's got the split. So I think what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to measure and put the whole thing on like that. I am going to cut it here. Well, that went so much easier than I thought. So and on. Need to clean it because it's covered in dust, but perfect. Right, let's measure that out and do it again. This might still give me enough to do the K40 with, so I don't have a huge amount of money and I would rather be able to reuse that. The good thing about this is it allows me to feed this all through and put the actual rubber rings on afterwards as well, so that's pretty cool. So next then I'm going to put these on this way around. I'm thinking I might need to have this out on a couple of washers, possibly. Don't know yet. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to do something I don't like doing. I was going to put a couple of washers on it, but I haven't got any washers of the right size. So I'm actually going to just use a couple of extra nuts. Maybe 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to put 2 nuts on it first, and I might need a third. I'm not sure yet. No, that looks about right. 2 should be fine then. Yeah, perfect. I may put a washer on the back of this nut here just to make sure that it, you know, it's got more bite to it, but we'll see. Okay, so that's that. Next then, everything's at the furthest it can be, and that means then I need this at the closest it can be, and then I'm going to connect up our thing. And what I'm hoping, and I haven't done any measurements yet, if I do this and I connect this all up like this, then when I put these closer together I can move this out. I did do a few measurements and it should work, but as I say, this is all a bit higgledy-piggledy. The first thing you're going to want to do is measure your timing belt, and what you want to do is overlap it by about 1 centimetre. Next, mark it where you're going to want it to be cut, and then 1 centimetre from there in the overlapping area. Next, mark a faint line from one of the lines to the other through the width of the belt, and this is where you're going to cut both pieces of the belt. Next, after you've removed the belt and placed it back how it was, having both the bottom and top pieces where they were, you want to hold it on a surface you're able to cut on and cut along the line you made from one side of the belt to the other, making a nice diagonal line through both pieces of the belt. This can be quite difficult, but take a few cuts and it should be done. If you've done it correctly, you should be able to line up the belt and the teeth, and they should go together quite nicely. Don't worry if there's slight overlaps on the top and bottom. We will deal with that in just a second. Squeeze out some CA glue on a flat surface. Take a piece of gaffer tape and stick it upside down on a flat surface too. Dip both ends of the timing belt in the CA glue and make sure it's just touching the bits that you're wanting to stick together, and rub it out of the teeth and off the back, and place one side onto the gaffer tape, sticking it down tight, and then you want to line up the other side with it and then stick that down tight too. Take your time here. This is the bit that takes a little bit of jiggery pokering to get in the right place, but once you've done that, use a blade or something just to make sure everything is exactly where you want it and aligned correctly. And once you've done this, leave it to dry for 15 to 20 minutes before doing anything more. When it's dry, remove it from the gaffer tape and it should look a little bit like this. You will have bits of the gaffer tape still stuck to the back, but that's not an issue. In fact, that gives it more strength, to be honest. Next, you're going to want to cut off the little edges that are sticking out. Carefully using a razor blade, just slice along it until you've got a nice straight edge on both sides, and it should look like this. It is as strong as can be. You will be surprised how much strength these actually have. Here I'm going to use all of my force to try and pull it apart carefully, and it is shocking just how strong these actually are. Okay, it's now time to fit the belt. So now we can just tighten this up slightly. Bear with. And that seems to work perfectly. I'm so shocked. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it as the smallest it can go and see if I've done my mathematics correctly or not. Because I did do actually some thinking when it came to planning this. Not a huge amount, but some. Now let's hope that the belt has enough tension and I've made this long enough. Okay, it's not going to be tight enough. Right, as I was worried, there's not enough surface area against both sides of this. Oh, but that's not big enough either. So straight away with the washers there, it's so much stronger. So move it along, chuck this on. Now these on. Much prefer that we can take these on and off this easy rather than having to slide the rods in with bits on, or you know. Okay, so that's the absolute smallest it can go, which is 4.5 centimeters, 45 millimeters, and so many inches. We could make some little rubber grommets for here. Okay, so basically all I've done is cut off a few bits of the pipe again, and I'm just gonna bring it down, not all the way, but just enough so that there's not much more, it can't go very far kind of thing. We may have to revisit this and we may have to make something different, I'm not sure yet, but that's it set up now. So all we need to do is go and plug it in. Okay, I've gone away and I've had a thought about a few things. Number one, I'm going to move the stepper motor to the side so that the wire's coming out the side. I would also like to have a look to see if I've got a longer wire. So I'm going to do that in a sec off screen, obviously. And also I'm going to make another belt. So there's going to be two belts, one for, you know, big to this size, and then a small one for when they're very, very close together. Because I'd like to be able to do the smallest, you know, that it can do will be, I'm thinking about 1.5 centimeters maybe. But I need to make another belt for that, which is pretty straightforward. So I'm going to do both those things off camera, and then we can go upstairs and plug it in and see if it actually works. Okay, and now I have two that look fairly similar in size, almost. But if I put this across like this one is the original one, and as you can see, it's got too much play when it's this small. But this one, off screen, I took away one of the bolts, nuts, sorry, because it wasn't needed now that I'm using these washers. But I didn't tighten this one up tight enough because I'm an idiot. Okay, so now it's working with a smaller belt for the smaller sizes, and then our regular size belt for the, you know, the big to medium to big. I also found a much larger cable. Again, didn't have to do any soldering. That was fantastic. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take it up, have a look at it in the laser, and see if it turns once the laser's turned on. If that happens, then we're pretty much ready to go to the next part, which will probably be in the next video. Right, okay, so as you can see, it's too big for the bed, which I'd already accounted for. However, I was going to be cutting out the bottom of the bed anyway, so that this could be recessed in, because even when it's at its lowest in the bed, the laser is too close. So if you put anything in it, it's not going to be able to, you know, there's no clearance, right? So I knew I was going to have to cut out the laser. However, I don't think, even after I've cut out the bits I need to, I still think it's going to be a little bit too long. So I'm going to have to cut these two ends off slightly, and then I'll be able to use the stoppers that I'd originally decided to use and then decided against. But while we're here, we might as well see if it actually works. Because if that doesn't work, then we're going to have to do a lot more going back to the drawing board. Okay, so it's this cable here you need to take out and replace with yours. And when I turn this on, it should just keep going and going and going, because there's no switch to tell it it's at the right place. But we'll see. Turn it on. Okay, as you'll see, there's quite a lot of deflection in where the bearings are being held, and this is partly because the bearings are old and they need a lot more lubing up, but also it's because I need to double up on the wood in the next design. But we're getting there, we're getting to a point where it will work. Okay, so it got to the point where I was placing into the laser, as you'll see, and I'd already known I was probably going to have to cut the ends of the poles off, the rods off. But I also thought that if I can sink it down deep enough into the laser after I've cut the bit off, then I won't need to, because it will be, you know, up against the gantry, right? And as I was thinking about, okay, how deep do I need to cut it? How much do I need to do this, that, and the other? I thought to myself, I don't want to cut my laser, and I don't think I'm going to have to. I instantly started to design a new version of the rotary bed. And I'm not going to even test this rotary bed. It works, as in it spins and so on and so on. That's all it needs to do. I know it works. And the designs will be sent to my patrons. And then in about a month or two, it'll be free on my Patreon for everyone. That's fine. It works. That's not a problem. I'm not worried about that. But I want to make one that's super duper flat. I mean, it's literally going to have just enough dip for the actual sort of cup, bowl, whatever you're going to cut in it. But so that it can lie flat in your laser and still hopefully have enough room for the laser to be able to etch into it without having to cut the bottom of the laser out. But yeah, there should be a much thinner, much lower profile one coming soon. And it's going to hopefully be like the lowest it can possibly be while still working, so that we can hopefully have enough room for the laser. But again, I don't know till I do some designs. Okay, thank you to my patrons. You guys are absolutely awesome. I really appreciate everything you've done for the channel, and thank you to you for watching. If you'd like to join them and become a patron, pop down in the description. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye for now.